Hello everybody and welcome to the United Stand. We've got another great interview for you today and we're here with FABRIZIO Romano. Thank you for being on the show, FABRIZIO, and I'm sure everyone's welcome to have you.
Thanks to you.
Getting straight into it, I wanted to touch on De Jong first of all, coming straight into the show because it's been such a long transfer saga with De Jong and we still have no idea where it's really going to go. There's talk of him coming out that he potentially would want to take a pay cut to stay at Barcelona, but Barcelona are still buying quite a few players. But also the Independent has been told that Barcelona made an initial offer to try and resolve the wages matter, but it wasn't enough, around 10 million euros less than De Jong was owed. Do you know the updates on De Jong, and is he willing to take a pay cut, or is he waiting to be paid out by Barcelona for what they owe him?
At the moment, what I know is that he never had an intention to take a pay cut. He wants to stay at Barcelona, but at current conditions. So with the same contract he has right now, at the moment on player side and on agent side, there is no intention to accept a pay cut. And this was a message sent by his agents to Barcelona 2 weeks ago when they had a direct meeting with Barca, and they were very clear. No intention to leave the club and no intention to accept any pay cut. So they want to continue with the current situation. This is Frenkie's position, of course. So we have to say what Barcelona will do in the coming days and weeks to try to find a solution, because as Laporta said again, it's really difficult for Barca to continue with De Jong, with the new salary to start with a new season could be a real problem, a real issue for Barca. So this is why at the moment the situation between De Jong and Barcelona is not easy, but also today morning I was checking, and on player side nothing has changed as of now. So let's see if Man United will be able to change the situation together with Barcelona, because Laporta confirmed the proposals, and it's more than proposal. There is an agreement between Manchester United and Barcelona. Everything is ready between the two clubs. 75 million plus 10 million in add-ons. Everything almost ready to be completed once Frenkie will change his mind, if Frenkie will change his mind, because at the moment the player simply wants to continue at Barca. He loves the city, his girlfriend loves the city too, he loves the club, he loves the atmosphere, he loves the dressing room, he loves the manager because he has a very good relationship with Xavi, and so this is why Frenkie de Jong wants to continue at Barcelona. Let's see what happens, because this is the key point, the player, only the player.
Do you think when it comes down to De Jong, is there any possibility he stays at Barcelona without taking a pay cut, or does he has to take a pay cut in order to stay?
I think possibilities, yes, because this is the reality as of today. So it's 1 month and then the market will be over, almost 1 month. And then at the moment, he doesn't want to leave. So, and at the moment, he doesn't want to take a pay cut. So there is a possibility, yes. And I don't know how Barcelona will be able to manage the situation on a financial point of view. Honestly, I don't know Barcelona finances at point to understand how they can resolve this story. But at the same point, what I can say is that Frenkie at the moment is not discussing with Barca like, okay, give me 10%, 40%, 60%. They're not discussing about that. The position is very clear. Frenkie has no intention to accept as of today. Then we know that in football, things can change. So maybe with the pressure of the clubs, it could be different in some weeks, or maybe the situation will change because Frenkie will understand that maybe leaving is the best solution for all the parties involved in this story. For sure, Man United are still there. So they are obsessed with Frenkie. They want Frenkie, and they will try for Frenkie until the end. So this is the position.
Yeah, it's a very interesting one because Manchester United seem to be very, very confident that they could get this deal done. Yet Frenkie de Jong is adamant he is not going to leave. Just the last question on de Jong: do you think the fact he doesn't want to leave is potentially because he's owed 17 million in wages? Do you think that has anything to do with it, or is he generally just does want to play for Barcelona and actually wants to stay at their club?
I think it could be one of the factors, but it's not just a financial point of view. This is something important to clarify. Of course, I always see that this salary topic is around. It for sure is an important one, because I think Frenkie deserves to have what he agreed with Barcelona. So for sure, this is a topic, but it's not the only one. Frenkie simply wants to continue at Barca as priority because of the reasons I told you. So remember that the last time he spoke in public, it was beginning of June, if I remember well, and he said, "I am in the biggest club in the world." This is the last sentence from Frenkie de Jong in public after the Dutch national team game. So, his message has always been clear. He wants to continue Barcelona, also because now Barcelona have Champions League football. The feeling at Barcelona is that the team is now back at super level after signing Rafinha, Lewandowski, Kessie, Christensen. They're doing very good things. And so I think the feeling for Frenkie is, what I'm told, is that he really wants to continue at Barca, and he wants to mark an era at Barcelona as Dutch players did many times. So He always wanted Barca. Now he's at Barca and he wants to continue there. Let's see if Man United will be able to change it or not. I'm sorry with Man United fans because I know they are desperate and they hear always the same story since more than 1 month. But this is the reality. We have no power to change it. It's only up to the clubs or to the agents. But at the moment, it's still the same.
I was about to say you've upset a lot of United fans with that one, but to be fair, a lot of United fans are getting sick of this transfer, the same as a lot of people are. It's one of them that could run and run until the final day, realistically. There's nothing set in stone yet. Moving on to another big topic that, again, is a Manchester United transfer saga at the moment, and it is surrounding Ronaldo. Ronaldo, there's rumours that he's potentially going to go to Atletico Madrid. Ten Hag wants him to stay in Manchester United, and apparently he's determined to make him stay. But again, he's not back in training. We've heard that it's because of personal reasons. Do you have any updates on Ronaldo? Is Atletico Madrid the only option other than United? And do you think he's likely to want to make that move to Atletico Madrid?
No, it's not the only option. It's not the only option because I'm sure that Jorge Mendes will try this week, next week, and in the coming weeks to explore many options again and again because he was trying with Chelsea and Thomas Tuchel said no 10 days ago. But who knows in the market? Maybe things can change. Also with Bayern, it's the same because Bayern said no, especially into the board of Bayern. They're not so convinced, not about Cristiano, but about signing players with his age. And so they have a philosophy. They want to respect their policy internally at the club. And this is why they said no to Cristiano. But I'm sure that Jorge Mendes will push again with both clubs. He will push again with Atletico Madrid. At the moment, they are not able to sign Cristiano also on a financial point of view because they need to sell players. This is something that is really important for Atletico Madrid. And so Morata, let's see with Saul, what happens. And there are many players to sell for Atletico Madrid, and then they can think about new signings. But at the moment, the situation is really quiet. But I'm sure that Jorge Mendes is pushing with all these clubs I mentioned. He also has some other options around other countries. But for Cristiano, the priority is to continue in Europe. So he will do his best to continue in Europe at top European level. So I'm not sure that it will be an easy one or a fast one. I don't know about the timing because, as you mentioned, it's a personal issue. And so this is the situation for Cristiano, and they are waiting at Man United, also asking the club. They don't know when Cristiano will be back. They hope to know as soon as possible because also Erik ten Hag wants to have a meeting. He's desperate to have a meeting with Cristiano to try to change his mind, to explain him about the project, how it is progressing with the new signings, with other players who are going to join Man United. So Erik ten Hag really wants to speak again with Cristiano because the last time was before this issue with Ronaldo. So he wants to have a conversation. He wants to explain him what's the new project of Manchester United. But at the moment, the situation is still in standby. But again, I'm sure that Atletico Madrid is not the only options, or one of the options, but not the only one. And I'm sure that Jorge Mendes will push until the end, as he did last summer. Because last summer, Man United fans were super excited because of Cristiano transfer, but it was end of August. And we spent the whole July here in Italy with Juventus saying Cristiano is not for sale, we trust Cristiano, we need Cristiano. And then Jorge, till the end, was trying with Man City, Man United, and top clubs that in July were not even interested. So you can see how the market can change sometimes. So let's see.
So for Ronaldo now, he does want out, like 100% wants out, would you say?
At the moment, yes. At the moment, it's still the same. Yes. Nothing has changed on Cristiano's side.
Yeah, okay. It's the story that's been going around. I'm sure United fans want him to stay, but at the end of the day, if he wants to leave, there's nothing you can really do. That Ten Hag's the only person that can try and change his mind. And if he does leave, we're going to need another forward. We can't just have Anthony Martial, Marcus Rashford for the whole of the season. Benjamin Sesko has been linked, and apparently he's on the list of considerations. How easy is that deal to do this summer? Do you think it's a viable deal that Manchester United could get done if Ronaldo does decide to leave?
I think your point is very good because it depends on Cristiano. It really depends on Cristiano. So Man United will decide about the striker once they know what happens with Cristiano Ronaldo, if he's coming back or not, if he's staying or not. And so they need to discuss with Cristiano before deciding who is the player they want to sign in that position. But I can confirm that Benjamin Sesko is one of the players they are following. He's a player they really like. He's a player who's in the list of the scouting department since a long time because he's one of the biggest talents in his position in Europe. And of course, thanks to Ralf Rangnick, now he's no longer in the club. But he spent very good words for this boy for a long time because Sesko is the Red Bull group. And so they know him very well. And now let's see what happens with the negotiations, because at the moment, from what I'm told, it's not an imminent deal, it's not an advanced deal because of Cristiano. So they need to clarify this Cristiano issue as soon as possible and then to decide on the striker. But Sesko is one of the players appreciated and could be an option. There is a point, it's about Red Bull Salzburg, because from what I'm told, they had no plan to sell Sesko this summer. Their original plan was to sell the player in summer 2023 for a different price, because this summer I think it will be difficult to sell him, to sign him for less than 55-60 million pounds. This could be the price tag, so not an easy one. Then when you have Man United jumping into the race, maybe the club can change their position, or the player also, because we know that Man United, of course, is attractive for a player like Sesko. And so I think it's a matter of days to understand if Man United will decide to jump into it or not. But to give you an example, Brobbey was considered one of the good names, but not something close or something concrete. And then he joined Ajax. For Sesko, it's different. They consider Sesko a top talent, a player who could be Man United level in few months or maybe years, to discuss about top players, because at the moment he's a top talent. But we have to wait for Cristiano to understand if Man United will decide to jump into it or not.
Exactly, because it is hard as well going to these clubs so late on in the transfer window and being like, can we take your top player for, I mean, and Man United are going to want a cheaper price, but they're going to want a big price. So we'll have to wait and see with that one. Obviously, surrounding Ronaldo is dependent. You said that he's on the list of considerations. Is there any other forwards on that list that Manchester United are interested in, that are interested in as much as they are as the likes of Sesko?
Let's see, because at the moment it's really difficult to find strikers at Man United level. You know, this is the point. I think that, of course, they've always been interested in different kind of players, like Antony, who's always been in the list. But discussing about center strikers, the plan with Ralf Rangnick was to sign kind of traditional number 9, and Erik ten Hag was happy too with this idea with Darwin Núñez. So Darwin was the summer priority, and then he joined Liverpool, as we know. Then now it's not easy, because players like Lautaro Martinez are no longer on the market. He's another player they appreciated and they discussed internally. It was May, but then now he's no longer available on the market. Inter can't sell Lautaro Martinez. And so it's really complicated to find a solution on the market at Man United level. And so this is why signing a top talent like Sesko could be the best option for the club, and also trusting Anthony Martial, because they told him they want to trust him and continue with him this season. So at the moment, this is the situation, but I would keep the name of Antony as one of the names. They will try until the end. It's not going to be easy. Of course, it's different kind of player. It's not a traditional striker. He's a winger, and so different kind of discussion also internally. But it's also complicated, because we saw how long it took for Manchester United to sign Lisandro Martinez from Ajax. Not an easy negotiation at all. And now is basically the same with Antony. It's not even a negotiation now, because there is still no bid from Manchester United. And again, they want to understand about Cristiano before jumping into it. But for Antony, it's a discussion that will not be easy with Ajax, because they already sold many players. Ajax manager is not happy with so many players being sold, and so he knows that the transfer policy at Ajax is like this, but now he wants the stars to stay. And so I think Man United, if they want Antony, they will need to pay like 80 million. This is what they always asked for Antony, so it's not going to be an easy one.
Do you think if Ronaldo leaves and we do jump into negotiations a little bit further with Antony, he's obviously a player that Ten Hag really does want. Do you think, especially if Ronaldo leaves, I mean, people are going to want a replacement. They're going to want a very good replacement. I'm not saying Antony is a replacement for Ronaldo, but he is a forward player that can play on the wing. He is a player that Ten Hag really wants. Do you think Manchester United would be willing to negotiate with Ajax? And do you think Ajax would be able to come down a little from the 80 million? Or do you think United would have to go out there and pay that money for him?
I think it will be really difficult to negotiate. This is the feeling I have. But even before selling Lisandro Martinez, this was the position, because they want to keep Antony for one more season. And so the agents of Antony were pushing at the beginning of July with Ajax to discuss with Man United, to try to find a way to negotiate, maybe on the add-on structure, to change the deal, to change the payment terms. So to try to find a way together, Ajax and Man United. And it was a no from Ajax. Then they sold Lisandro Martinez to Manchester United after losing their manager, as in Erik ten Hag joining Manchester United. So you know why it's not going to be easy. And I think that signing top players in August, I think it could be the same situation they had with Sancho in summer 2020. They wanted Sancho, they were obsessed with Sancho, but for Borussia Dortmund, I still remember it was 120 million euros or nothing, and Man United were convinced to sign him for 100 million euros, and it didn't happen. So when you want to sign top players like Antony, important players for the club, in August, is never easy. So they will need to match the price tag and then maybe do this kind of crazy bid and sign Anthony. Let's see what they will decide to do. But at the moment, I don't see it as an easy one. But he's still one of the big names in the list at Manchester United.
So another signing we should have gone for at the start of the window before it sold all the players, and it might have been a little bit easier for us. But I mean, we'll have to see how that one goes. Another position that we've seen with the right back situation, Dalot seems to have taken the right back position in pre-season under Ten Hag. It looks like Wan-Bissaka isn't really part of Ten Hag's plans. We've talked about Dumfries on one of these interviews before. Dumfries is a name that is being linked more and more with right back at Manchester United, and with Wan-Bissaka apparently being open to offers to him. Do you think that Dumfries is an option that United could potentially go for, depending on what happens? Again, we know with the striker situation, there is money left. Do you think he is a player that we could go for this summer, depending on how things pan out with the other signings?
I'm sure that he's a player appreciated by Erik ten Hag. This is what I'm told, that he's always been a big fan of Dumfries, what he did with the Dutch national team, with PSV in Eredivisie, and also with Inter in the last season. He was one of the best right backs in Italy. So I'm sure that he appreciates the player. But at the same point, I'm sure that for Manchester United could be an option in case they will sell Wan-Bissaka, because as you mentioned, Wan-Bissaka is still there. And so it's not going to be an easy one to find a solution for Wan-Bissaka. So they're still waiting after some contacts with Crystal Palace at the beginning of the market, but then nothing happened on official contacts, and so still waiting to understand what happens with Wan-Bissaka. But Dumfries could be one of the options, because in case Bissaka will leave the club, they will go for a player in that position. Dumfries could be one of the options also because Inter want serious money for Dumfries. So I don't see them selling for 20 million or something like that. They always ask more than 30, 35 million euros for Denzel Dumfries. So I think it's a fair price because he did very good. There is another point, the World Cup. We know what happened with Timber, with Louis van Gaal pushing the player to stay at Ajax because he has the chance to play regular game time and then to go to the World Cup and play as a starter for a Dutch national team. I think for Dumfries, this is another factor, that the player is guaranteed started with Inter. At Man United, he has to be in competition with Diogo Dalot in case he will join the club. And Dalot is really appreciated by Ten Hag. Dalot is really appreciated. He's doing very well in training sessions, in the preseason. And so this is another factor. Let's see if they will go for Dumfries or for a different kind of player. But first step is to sell Wan-Bissaka. It's not going to be easy.
Yeah, I actually have been really impressed with Dalot as well, but obviously Dumfries is a very good option. You're going to need more than one player there, and Wan-Bissaka just really seems to be not part of Erik ten Hag's plans at the moment. Finally, I just want to get onto outgoings and see if there is any players that are going to be leaving Manchester United. We know it's always a tricky subject because of the wages that they're on, but Eric Bailly will come to the first player that I've got on the list. Eric Bailly, he's been linked to Roma, managed by Mourinho. He's had quite a good tour in the minutes he's played very well, impressed a few Manchester United fans, but is it likely that he does leave now? Because it's obvious he's not first choice. He should be playing first team football, in my opinion. Do you think he will leave Manchester United this summer?
He wants to play. He wants to play. He's desperate to play, and he's doing very good in pre-season because when he has the chances to play, he's super happy. So his dream is to play at Manchester United. But as you mentioned now, with Varane, Maguire, and of course with Lisandro, it's not going to be easy. So at the moment, he's still with Manchester United, open to discuss for Bailey in case they will receive proposals. There is this story about Roma, but at the moment, I'm told that Roma have different priorities after signing Dybala. They are now negotiating for Wijnaldum, and so the center back will be something that they will discuss in the next weeks, not now. So let's see if they will decide to go for Bailey or not. But at the moment, I'm told that there is still nothing imminent. And we will see. We will see. But at the moment, I think he's one of the players who could be leaving Manchester United in August. But it always depends on proposals. I see Man United very clear on this. They will sell players, but only for the right price, and not maybe not in July, but maybe in August. But in July, they're not accepting like kind of loan moves with no guaranteed money, with no full payment of the salary. So they want very good conditions for their employees.
Does the same go for players like Telles, Williams, Tuanzebe, all players that potentially could leave, but if the right offer comes in?
Yes, they're just waiting. All the players you mentioned, they are just waiting Manchester United to receive the right proposals. I think Telles has very good chances to leave too, because with Malacia now, it makes no sense to have 3 left backs. And so for Telles, they're waiting for potential proposals. And we will see, but outgoings will be really important for Manchester United. Really, really important, because as I mentioned before, for the right back, but it's the same with many other positions, selling players will help to sign other players during the window and in August. So this is a key point for Man United market. So let's wait a bit and we will know more.
Finally, just before I let you go, because it's been a great interview, there's just one question that I've seen in the chat that I really want to put to you, and that is, if Frenkie de Jong doesn't sign, which looks like he wants to stay at Barcelona, is there any alternatives, or is it true that Ten Hag is willing to wait for the perfect player?
No, he's waiting. He's waiting for Frenkie. He's going to wait for Frenkie. So Frenkie's plan A, B, and C, I'm sure. Then if Frenkie will say, okay, no way, stop, maybe they can go for an alternative. There are players appreciated since long time by United like Yuri Tielemans, but he's still in Arsenal list, and so it's not going to be an easy one. Ruben Neves, but the price is very high, so another not easy one. But for sure, Man United will be ready with alternatives. But as of now, it's Frenkie.
Thank you so much for coming on the show, Fabrizio. Great updates as always. I'm sure everyone loved to hear what you were saying. Thank you for coming on, and we'll see you on the next interview.
Thank you as always. Thank you. Ciao.
Bye. Well, guys, that was Fabrizio. Updates on the transfer market. I mean, we knew what kind of answers we were going to get, but to be honest with you, I was quite happy with a lot of the answers we got there. I feel like we got a little bit of clarity around certain players that I kind of needed as a Manchester United fan, the same way that you guys need. And for me, I'll start off with the points that really clarified certain things for me. And it was around the De Jong and Ronaldo news. I'll go in with the De Jong news first, because that is what the topic of the show is, and that is the headline of the show. And I genuinely did think that we will get De Jong towards the end of the transfer window. I think he did want money out of Barcelona, and I think he still does want that money out of Barcelona. And I don't think Manchester United would be pursuing this player on and on and on if he wasn't going to come. But what Fabrizio just basically said is, it's not even about the money. I mean, that could just be the news being relayed out to the journalists. But for him, he loves the city. His girlfriend loves the city. They want to stay in the city. He loves the manager. But I can't understand why he would want to continue playing there as a centre-back, as Javi sees him, and seeing all these players around him getting good wages and them buying new players, and them not even willing to pay him the money that he deserves and asking him to take a pay cut. I can't understand how, as a human being, you would be acceptable with that. Like, if that was me as a player, and even if I was playing for my dream club, say if I was playing for Manchester United, I would still be frustrated. I would love the club and I would want to stay, but I would be frustrated that everyone around me is getting good deals, getting good pay. I mean, I know some players have had to take a pay cut, but to put him down to 50% pay cut and again, not pay his deferred wages, I think they're taking the mick out of him the same way they're taking the mick out of Manchester United if they continue like that. But I do think it is one that is going to run and run and run until the final day. And it was weird because when Fabrizio was talking about Frenkie de Jong, it did seem like adamantly De Jong does not want to go. But then at the end, he was like, Frenkie de Jong is plan A, B, and C. Ten Hag is going to wait. We're not going to buy anyone else if we don't get Frenkie. So slightly worries me in the fact that if we don't get him, we're not buying anyone else, and it will be McFred again. That is the worrying point coming from this. But also it leads me to believe that there must be signals there. There must be a sign that we are going to sign this player. And if I had to bet money on it, I would say that I think we will sign this player, but I think it's going to run and run and run until the final day. I can't see Manchester United going into the season without getting a midfielder in. And Ten Hag is willing to wait for Frenkie de Jong. He must have some sort of signal. It's like, I don't know if Mark's talked about this on the shows before, but to me, it's like when you're flirting with someone, you're kind of getting to know them a little bit, but then you find out that they have a boyfriend or they have a girlfriend, and then they're like, no, I'm leaving them. I want to get with you. I'm leaving them, and then they're like, no, I'm not leaving them, and it just continues and continues and continues. You're getting led on in the hope that they're going to leave them and come to you, but when the final decision has to be made, that doesn't end up happening. So it's just whether De Jong does take that plunge and leaves Barcelona to come to Manchester United. And as a Manchester United fan, I was a little bit disappointed. Like, he's obsessed with Barcelona. He wants to stay at Barcelona. He does not want to come to Manchester United. And do you want a player that doesn't want to come to your club? And that's the points I give to you in the chat below. But personally, for me, I think it's not that he doesn't want to come to Manchester United. I think he wants his money. He wants the wages. And I think he is willing to work with Ten Hag, because there wouldn't still be the chance of getting him. There wouldn't still be Manchester United in the race, and Ten Hag wouldn't be going down a dead end. He's not driving down a dead end. He knows there's a chance that he can get through there, and he knows that there's a chance that he can get to Frenkie de Jong. So it just depends on how long Barcelona prolong these negotiations and how long they prolong not paying de Jong the money that he's owed. TG got a super chat in. Hi Beth, just tuned in. Please could you do a quick summary of what I missed? Sorry if you've got to repeat yourself, loving the content. I'll just go through it quickly. We've just talked about De Jong. Basically, he's adamant to stay at Barcelona. He wants to stay at Barcelona. He loves Barcelona. He loves the people. His girlfriend loves the city. He wants to stay. But Romano saying he's also plan A, B, and C. So it's one of them where we don't know which way it's going to go. When it comes down to Ronaldo, we'll speak about that now. He adamantly wants to leave Manchester United. And that's another thing that was kind of like a red flag when I was doing the interview for me. I was like, I thought part of me was Ronaldo could be convinced to stay. But Romano says, as of now, Cristiano Ronaldo wants to play in Europe. He wants to play in the best competitions. He does not want to stay at Manchester United. Ten Hag is determined to have a chat with him, determined to convince him to stay at the club, and determined to try and sell him the project. But Cristiano is adamantly wanting to stay, and that he doesn't know when he's going to come back to training or if that's going to happen. But he did say our potential forward targets in the market, and also other targets such as right back and potentially any other positions, are dependent on Ronaldo. And he thinks we will get big updates on this news within the coming days. And that was the big thing for me. In the coming days, we might get updates on Ronaldo, and we potentially will get updates on what is Ronaldo's future. And that leads me to believe maybe Ten Hag wants to have that chat with him ASAP. We know that Manchester United is off today. Potentially, could it be happening over the phone? I assume it's going to happen in person. But if it could happen over the phone, you never know. We've heard these stories come out before as well. And we need to know about the Ronaldo situation. And Manchester United are going to have to press to know about this Manchester United situation, because if Ronaldo stays, it seems like we are not going for a forward. If Ronaldo leaves, we are massively going to up the ante with negotiations regarding Benjamin Sesko and regarding Antony. To me, it seemed like regarding Sesko, he is high up on our list of negotiations. We know that Nunes was our main target at the start of this summer. That's the road they wanted to go down. He went to Liverpool, but Sesko is a top talent that they think could be a Manchester United quality within a few months and could reach that quality to play for Manchester United. He's one of the players that they think is going to reach Manchester United quality if they do go out and buy him. And that rests on whether Ronaldo leaves or stays. If Ronaldo stays, we won't go for that deal. Romano just said it'd be around 55, 60 million euros. I think you could get them down on that price because of his age and because of the consistency over seasons, where you usually, when a player has more consistency over a couple of seasons, you usually see them go up in price. He's not quite had that yet, but he's a good player. He's a very good player. And we saw the price on Darwin Núñez. Good strikers are very hard to come by at the moment to play at the top level. So they're going to put a high price on him. And Manchester United would have to pay that if Ronaldo left. They would have to, because they can't go into next season with just Martial, Sancho and Rashford across the front three. They've been good in pre-season, but when you look at facts and the history, they have not consistently performed for us at a high level on a consistent, continuous basis. And we can't afford to go into the season without having another option as a striker. So I'm hoping this problem gets solved. It needs to get solved quickly. We can't be going into this limbo across the next few weeks, because we play Brighton 2 weeks on Saturday. The Premier League season is starting, and we've still not sure what our transfer plans are. We don't know if we're going for a striker or getting Ronaldo. We don't know if De Jong is going to end up coming. And most of our transfer targets now is all up in the air, and we don't know what's going on. And this has come through improper planning, and we're kind of paying the price for it now with higher prices on players such as Antony. Romano saying we won't be able to get Antony for much less than 80 million euros because they've sold half the team, and because this new manager really wants him to stay, despite Antony wanting to leave. They want a very good price for him, and too right they will. It's the start of the season, and we're potentially going to go head into negotiations for one of their best players. They're going to want a good price. So it's disappointing we've not got all of this sorted out earlier on in the window. But again, and some people put it down in the chat, should Ronaldo have made his opinions on wanting to leave very clear before the transfer window started? My personal opinion is it's coming out from everywhere. The reason he wants to leave is because he wants to play in Europe. Whether that is the truth or not, if that was the truth, that should have been said right at the end of the season when we didn't get top four. Because to leave it this late, I just think it puts Manchester United in a hard position. But do you know what they should be doing anyway? They should be covering it, and they should be going out and getting a striker anyway, because it would not hurt. If we went into the transfer, say if we went into the Premier League season with Martial, Ronaldo and Sesko, that'd be good, very good. I wouldn't be out there saying, oh my gosh, how have we managed to get that good of a forward line? I think it would be very good. But I think if Manchester United are serious, you've got to wedge your bets, and you've got to go out there and start negotiating for strikers now, because Ronaldo could potentially end up leaving. He might not buy Ten Hag's plan. He might not buy into it. I hope he does, and I think there's a high likability he will, because personally for me, when I look at Atletico Madrid and I look at Manchester United right now in this moment, I'm like, I can't understand, apart from the Champions League attraction, why Ronaldo would want to go to Atletico Madrid. It would annoy Real Madrid fans. It could tarnish his legacy there. I mean, he's always going to have that legacy, but they'll be annoyed about it. He's going to be playing in a team that plays very defensive football. His chances are going to be few and far between. I watched it at the Wanda Metropolitan. João Felix was constantly running, trying to get on the end of long balls and not being able to reach him, because it was constantly defend and then get forward at the slimmest possible chance. He wasn't good attacking football. It was very defensive football. And he's not going to win La Liga. I think Real Madrid and Barcelona are way ahead of Atletico when it comes to La Liga next year. And he's not going to win the Champions League. So I can't understand why he won't buy into Ten Hag's plans, but you never know. There could have been a massive falling out with people in the hierarchy at the club. We know he was upset about Manchester United not being ambitious at the start of the transfer window. And you know what? Maybe if he went in for a Sesko or an Anthony now, that could potentially impress Ronaldo and be like, oh, you are serious. You are serious about the start of this season, because when you look at it on paper, Martinez, Eriksen and Malacia, it's not serious for the position that we're in. It's not good enough. I think they're all good players, but it's not good enough. And De Jong isn't nailed on, and neither are any other signings really. It's the same old stories. We're interested in, we're targeting, this could happen if this happens. No, if you need that player and Ten Hag wants that player, go and get it done. Beth, please request him not to go for Atletico. I wish I held that power. Beth, our spend is lower than Nottingham and Leeds, the state of our club. I don't think the spending is good enough. I really don't. I don't know if that is factual, but the spending is not good enough, especially for a new manager in charge. I mean, we know Ten Hag has got his ways, and we know he's a very good manager, but we've said it so many times. You can't turn water into wine. You can't magically turn McTominay into Frenkie de Jong. It's not going to happen. But, I mean, again, you've got to link it back to the club, and why aren't they going out and doing these deals? I know there's a limited budget, but why is there a limited budget? These are questions that need to be asked. But anyway, this isn't the point of, well, it is always the point, but it's not the point we're on to this show. And when it comes to outgoings as well, again, Manchester United want to sell players. They want to sell Bailly. Bailly really wants to play football. Disappointed that every time he plays well and he's not getting picked. That's been the same for quite a while. But Tellez, Williams, Tuanzebe, all players that Man United, especially Wan-Bissaka, want to sell, but they want the right offers. I think you should be going out there and finding clubs to sell these two. There will be clubs that are willing to take these players. You might have to sell them for bare minimum. Sell them for bare minimum then. They're never going to make it into the Manchester United first team. They're not good enough. So what is the point of having them hanging around? I'd rather just take the money that you can get and invest it into a player that could potentially be good enough. I know you need a squad there, but you'd be able to get rid of at least 3 of them players this summer. And again, if we don't, you've got to question the transfer team and why these deals aren't happening, because they should be happening. And as Fabrizio said, they are very, very important to our transfer window, because if we get money from them players, it gets reinvested back in, and we could potentially end up getting a Dumfries. Dumfries is high on the list, and he is a player that I think we would definitely go for if we sell Wan-Bissaka. Will we sell Wan-Bissaka? Probably not, because his wages are probably too high. We bought him for 50 mil, so Manchester United are probably going to want a decent return on him. That shouldn't be the mindset. The mindset should be, he's not part of Ten Hag's plans. It was a mistake. Let's not do that again. Let's try and get what we can for him and move on. And unfortunately, that isn't the way it is, but we'll have to see. Krevin Naker says, hi, has there been any news on the Antony deal? The news is that it's going to cost Manchester United 80 million. Ajax will not budge on that. Or it could potentially budge, but it won't be much. And Ten Hag really wants him. Antony really wants to come, but the price tag is a problem. They're very way off in their evaluations. And Manchester United are only going to push that deal if Ronaldo leaves. Because if he stays, they think they don't really have to. That's what I got from that conversation. He said that we will press more into the Antony deal if Ronaldo leaves. So a lot of stuff is resting on Ronaldo and Ronaldo's position at the club, whether he stays or whether he goes. I've made it very clear. I don't think that should be why Manchester United aren't spending money and they're just kind of sitting, waiting. Everything's up in the air in the transfer window when there's 2 weeks to go. We should just be assuming he's going. If he stays, it's a positive, and get the money in. Get the players in and get players in to suit this squad, and think that Ronaldo is leaving. Don't go into the transfer window. There's not the transfer window. Don't go into the Premier League season and assume that Ronaldo is going to be there. So it's halting them from making moves. We've got to make moves soon, because if he leaves, it's just not good enough. The squad isn't good enough. And if I was going to say now what I think will happen, I think we'll get De Jong, but I think Ronaldo could potentially leave. I really do. He seems adamant about it. I just hope Ten Hag can sell him the Manchester United project. But if Ronaldo does leave, I definitely think Sesko is up there on a player that is likely to come in as replacement. So everyone, get in the comments. Would you be happy with Sesko coming in as a forward if Ronaldo leaves? Do you think Ronaldo will leave? Is it time to just kind of assume he's leaving and carry on with the transfer business? What do you think about De Jong? Massively preferring Barcelona, saying he doesn't want to come to Manchester United, doesn't really want to join our club. Do you think we should still be pursuing that deal? Because you're starting to question. He's such a good player, but you do start to question. But thank you guys for listening to the interview today. Good updates there by Fabrizio, and make sure you tune in to the 8 o'clock show later, and we should have more updates on the transfer situations at hand. But get your comments down below. Make sure you like, make sure you subscribe, and we'll see you on the next one, everyone.